We all know that, well, much of what we are presented in the world is not true and lies, and I've done extensive traveling and I've viewed a large number of castles and palaces and state houses and cathedrals and amazing, amazing architecture, as we all have throughout our lives. And we think nothing of it. Or I never had. I mean, just looking at all of this incredible detail and refinement and ornate, just stunning architecture and detail. Things that we don't do today. We build boxes, literally. I'm currently in South Korea, and that's all I see. Just high-rise and some low-rise boxes. But I mean, that's what we have in the United States now as well, and all over the world. We don't build like this anymore. And so I finally came to look and ask questions like, how did they build these buildings in the 1200s and 1300s and 1400s and 16 or even 1800s? When they're riding around with horse and wagon, how are they accessing all of the resources, all of the stone? How are they quarrying and, what's the word? Digging out, for lack of a better word, all of the stone, and then creating things like this. The stone, the gold, the copper, the glass, the stained glass, the crystal, building structure like this of such perfection. Anyway, I need to thank the following YouTube channels for opening my eyes to this and allowing me to see the ridiculous nature of the narrative that we've been fed since birth, all of us. I mean, I thought surely flat Earth was the end of it. I thought, okay, this has to be the end-all be-all of all conspiracy. We were taught from a young age that we're on this. Oh, I won't get into this in this video, but I mean, anyway, I need to thank the following channels for opening my eyes and allowing me to see the truly unbelievable structures that are all around the world. Around most of the world. So, firstly, my lunch break. He's an amazing researcher, and he digs deep, and he blew my mind. So thank you to my lunch break. And then Old World Exploration. He does deep dives on different cities all throughout the United States and Canada and around the world. And yeah, you've got to watch his videos. Just the compilations of the architecture that he shows, old architecture, much of which has been demolished because they don't want us to see what people in the past were capable of. How far in the past? That's the question. Anyway, other channels that I highly recommend looking into. Restitutor Orbis. The name of his channel is Lucius Aurelian, but he introduces himself as Restitutor Orbis. Jon Levi, or Levi. It's spelled Levi. and John is Jon. JT follows JC, simply because, well, he goes into the theory of the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ here on earth that has already passed, at which time perhaps all of these structures were built, and then Satan was loosed afterward for a short while. How short, we don't know, but let me go back to that picture. Look at this. Buildings they constructed before power tools, and what we're constructing now. A little bit of devolution, wouldn't you say? Anyway, not bitter. Also, yeah, so, I mean, obviously Satan is running amok in this world. I mean, everything is turned upside down. Everything. So, yeah. The thought that all of these incredible, gigantic, enormous, huge, fantastical, breathtaking, meticulous, divine structures were perhaps created when people were of a more divine nature. Unlike today where we're killing each other, like in Israel and Palestine right now, which is another matter. Anyway, other channels that I must thank for opening my eyes. Understanding Conspiracy, Sean Hibbeler of Hibbeler Productions. He made an excellent documentary called Old World Order, which I highly recommend. And he's done many, but that's his most recent. Michelle Gibson, she sometimes is on with Old World Exploration. She's awesome. DITRH, David Weiss, who has opened my eyes to so much. Anyway, and I'm very grateful to him for a number of reasons that I won't get into in this video, but unfortunately, I'm going to be cut off after 15 minutes because I'm using this app, which only allows 15 minutes for the free version, but I will just have to put together a number of short videos. So I'm going to end this one here. This will be the introduction, and then I will move on to my research. I got into Capitol buildings, how long it took for them to build. So the question is, who built these buildings, when, and how? It's not this guy riding on a horse and wagon. It's not the people who came to the United States in the 1700s and all of a sudden decided, oh, we're going to build Harvard University and we're going to build all these amazing Romanesque and Greek-fashioned buildings for our capitals. Yeah, we're living in squalor, and we're fighting the Indians, and we're fighting the French, and we're fighting the Spanish, and we're fighting amongst ourselves. But yeah, we can build these divine structures anyways, because we're just that awesome. So who built these amazing structures? When were they actually built? Because I'm going to show you, Wikipedia is full of beep, full of it. And it's run by AI. AI is much older than we are being led on to believe. And then how? How were these amazing structures built? Because they weren't built with shovels and chisels and rope and ladders and scaffolding. Sorry. No. Just no. All right, well, I've been going for 9 minutes. I'll be cut off in 6. Maybe I can, let's see. Okay, I can show you some of the research. I can start going over it. So I went to ChatGPT and I asked for a list of the states and when they became states and when their capital was established. And then I just randomly started looking at some of the Capitol buildings. And wow, just wow. Like, okay, I'll just click here. Let's just look at this one, Kentucky State Building. And just look at the detail. Oh, let me go back to that document. Oh, oops. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh. Why can't I open my document now? Okay, well, this sounds like a good... Oh, because I accidentally clicked on a stupid pencil. Don't want a pencil. Oh, my God. Oh, crap. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Exit drawing. Holy cow. Okay, I just wasted 2 minutes of your time and mine. Okay, so, yeah, I also have I'm going to go over some amazing cathedrals in the United States and when they were built, how long it took for them to be built, according to Wikipedia. And according to their official websites, by the way. Okay, so back to the Kentucky State House. Opened June 1910. Built between 1905 and 1909. That's the official... Yeah, officially. Built in 4 years. Built in 4 years, so let's take a look. Yeah. I buy that. 6 years. Sure. I mean, it takes us 10 years to build a box nowadays, but yeah, I can see them knocking this out in 6 years. Why not? Totally believable. With their shovels and whittlers and chiselers and whatever they had. In what year? 1905 to 1909. I did some research to see when the first power tool, let's see. The first excavator, 1839. 1925, half of U.S. homes had electric power. 1882, Edison developed a light bulb. 1897, patented an excavator. Okay. So they had excavators, very basic ones that were not mobile in the late 1800s. Anyway, I'm going to stop here and start a new video. I'll be back. Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off. And I hope you can hear me. Hopefully the audio is going through. I guess I'll find out. So, okay, let's look at a couple more state houses, and then we're going to look at some amazing cathedrals and the time frame that they say they were built, the time they say they were built, and then we're going to look at some castles and palaces from the 1400s, 1200s, you know, when people were living in hovels and riding horse and buggy and engaging in all of these wars and brouhahas and dying of the plague, but still they were able to build these amazing, ornate, unimaginable, perfect structures that have stood the test of time. All right, so here's Arkansas. It became a state in 1836, at which time it had a population of 30,000 people. Little Rock was established as the capital in 1821 before it became a state. The Capitol, OL, the building, was built on the site of the state penitentiary, and prisoners helped construct the building. They lived in a dormitory that was left on the Capitol grounds while construction was taking place. So, this building that you're going to see took 16 years to build in 1899 before power tools. 1899 to 1915, built by prisoners. Doesn't matter that they have zero experience in building anything. They have the plans of the architect, and you'll notice if you go back and look at all these buildings, notice they were found, and some year, and then they always list the architecture. They list the architecture and when it was built. No mention of the people unless, oftentimes they were prisoners or parishioners or lay people. Because, to build something like this, who needs experience? I mean, really. Anyone can do this. Come on. Anyone. Give me a hammer, a few nails, and a chisel, and I'll just go to town. Yes, indeedy. The rotunda. Let's look at the interior. Very simple and basic, built by prisoners in 16 years. All the ornate detail, all the intricacies, the stonework, the masonry. That's an interesting word. Freemasons, Freemasonry. Masonry that was free, that they founded. Interesting. Words. Very important. All right. Let's look at another one, shall we? Echoing Peggy Hall. Shall we? Okay, Iowa. Because, Iowa's booming back in the 1800s. 1846 had a population of 50,000 at the time of its statehood, its founding. And I put, oh my God, because, okay, so, let's read. I did a little research. The building was constructed between 1871 and 1886. So, 15 years. And it's the only 5-domed capital in the country. 5 domes. Because why not? I mean, you're in Iowa, for God's sake. You need a 5-domed capital. It was dedicated in 1884 for power tools. And it was completed sometime in 1886. We're not sure. The Building Commission made the final report on June 29, 1886, with a total cost of $2 million, blah, blah, blah dollars. The audit showed that only $3.77 was unaccounted for in the 15 years of construction. Well, Donald Rumsfeld ought to talk to them, see how they managed their money, because he lost $2 trillion. Anyway, let's look and see this 5-domed Capitol building in Iowa, because you just need it. Well, they didn't build it in the 1800s, so we know it was not built in the 1800s. We know that the people of the 1800s didn't build it, and we don't know how it was constructed. Gold leaf. Because, it's the government, so it's merited. Interior shot, all the molding, and probably built by prisoners as well, or the lay people from the local village. Amazing. And the frescoes and the paintings and the murals. Yes, indeed. All right. What else do we have? So that was Iowa. I also looked at South Dakota. Became a state in 1889. South Dakota State Capitol building completed between 1905 and 1910. Just 5 years. Because they're such hardy pioneers and they're good with their chisels. Let's look at some images, shall we? South Dakota. Because, you know, when you're in the foothills, you gotta have structures like this. You just gotta. With pools and ornate ceilings, domed and arched, and pillars, and yeah, just the works. Romanesque. Okay. Inside. You know, it's a little blasé, a little simple, but I suppose it'll have to do. It will just have to do. Alrighty. I think one more. Wyoming. Became a state in 1890, at which time the population was 20,000. Construction started on the Capitol building in 1886. So 4 years before it became a state. And it was opened in 1890. So 4 years, a cost of $150,000. 4 years. Population of 20,000. But amongst those 20,000, of which maybe a third or a half were children. So of the 10,000 people remaining, of which about 90% were farmers, of the 5% remaining, they were all very good with their shovels and chisels. Okay. Let's take a look at this building that took, 4 years to build? Oh, yeah. You know, my dad built our house, and I mean, it was beautiful. It doesn't quite compare. However, how much time do I have? Okay. I mean, he did an amazing job. My father, God love him. He did everything. I mean, he didn't do this kind of work, but I mean, he did the electrical work, he did the plumbing, he did all the painting, he made all the cabinets, he leveled the foundation, he did everything. I hammered a few nails, I will say, and I held up some sheetrock. But anyway, what was my point? I don't know. But, oh yeah, it took a year. Yeah, it took a full year to build a 1,700 square foot house, which is amazing. One man working alone. So, 10 people with shovels and chisels and lathes. Yeah, I could see them knocking this out in 4 years. Why not? Of course, I'm being sarcastic. A Greek goddess of some kind. Gotta have your Greek gods, I mean. We are a Christian nation after all. No interior shots. Inside. Interior. Yeah, the exterior is more, well, okay. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. 4 years. Yep. Very pioneering and hardworking. Finding all the stone and gold and copper and marble. Very easy back in the day. Alright. So now, that does it for, the Capitol buildings that we will look at. Then I took a look at, I did a search for the most famous and ornate cathedrals in the United States. And I mean, look at these. Look at these. This is what blows my mind. Look at how... And they erected all of this, the huge stonework, the archways, the multiple archways, with perfection, that have stood the test of time. Unlike our buildings that we don't build like this anymore. And I would contend that we maybe can't. So we're going to look at some of these in more detail and their construction time and construction period. And again, we're going to ask ourselves, who really built all of this? When was it actually built? And how? Which we may never know. Just amazing. This one's in Europe, but still. I mean, come on. Alright, I will start another video. Okay, so I guess I'm picking up where I left off. We're going to look at some amazing cathedrals, mostly in the United States, which I chose cathedrals in the United States because our history is a lot shorter than the rest of the world, and so, the time frame where these buildings could have been built is much shorter. However, the cathedrals found in the United States are just as ornate and exquisite and detailed and incredible as in other parts of the world. So, yeah, they have a harder time selling us the lie. Okay. So, I'm going to close down some of these windows. Okay. Alright, so very bare bones. I made a Word document of the most ornate cathedrals in the US and beyond. And then I highlighted the ones that I wanted to show you. So I looked at this list by ranker.com, and then I chose the ones that really popped out at me. Cathedral of St. John the Baptist, Savannah, Georgia, built between 1873 and 1896. So 23 years, but current building largely from 1899. Okay, because of a fire. And you'll find this in many of the stories of these buildings, that there was a fire and they had to build it again, but it only took 3 years. No. That's the original building. There was no fire. You did not build it. You found it. Anyway, let's look at this cathedral that took 23 years to build, supposedly, at the time of horse and buggy. Okay. These aren't even good, but I mean, stained glass alone, and then the ornate painting and decoration and archways and just... And then the sculptures, of course, and the tabernacle and the altar. Yeah. I think it might take a little longer than 23 years, and I don't think people on horse and buggy and who were subsistence farmers and who were worried about fighting the Indians and yeah, just doesn't fit. But okay, let's move on to the next one because we have quite a few. St. Patrick's Cathedral of New York, original construction from 1858 to 1872. Why did I not put a link for images? Well, it's okay, I can do a search. But so 58 to 72, that is 14 years. 14 years. Okay, St. Patrick's Cathedral, New York. Let's take a look. One of the most famous cathedrals in America, and again, what year? 1858 to 1872. 14 years. For all of this. All of this. Ornate detail. Nope. No. Nope. I mean, you have to get all the stone. You have to make the stained glass. How are they erecting these incredible archways? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And gold and copper and bronze and crystal and yeah. Amazing. Wow. Wow. No. I mean, we make boxes like this, and it takes 14 years. They did not build this in the 1850s in 14 years. Sorry. Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart, Newark, New Jersey. 55-year construction, 1899 to 1954. A little more plausible. So I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to give it to him. 55 years. We did have power tools for a time, so I'll give it to him. This one I will give. Oh. Cathedral of St. Paul, Minnesota, 1906 to 1915, 9 years. I made a note. It's in quotes, so it must be from Wikipedia. Louis Mascaret, who was the chief architect, we always know the architect, of the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, designed both buildings in the Beaux-Arts style, and they were built about the same time. So when they were building all the buildings for the St. Louis World's Fair, the same guy who designed those buildings also designed this cathedral. Of course. Let's take a look. Yeah. How long did that take? 9 years. 9 years. I'm gonna say bullshit. The pipe organ alone would take a year. Just this ornate detail. These figures appear a little dark. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's just not a 9-year construction project in the early 1900s. I'm sorry. Not buying it. Huh. Oh, wait. It's a different church. Oh, no, it's the same. St. Paul. Yeah. All of this. Wow. Okay. Basilica of St. Mary, also in Minneapolis, Minnesota, constructed in just 7 years from 1907 to 1914. Let's have a look. Seven years. With horse and wagon, subsistence farmers. Totally believable. And that's 7 years discounting the cold winter, where there's no construction going on. Okay. Wow. Sorry if my narration is less than fantastical, but what more can I say other than wow and I mean, it's, and that's just one window. Breathtaking. So again, who really built these buildings? When were they truly built? And how? Inquiring minds want to know. Alright. Let's see. Okay, 2 more. But I only have 2 minutes. Okay. Basilica of St. Josephat, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay. This I found priceless. From Wikipedia. The cornerstone was placed on July 4th, 1897. Unskilled parishioners did most of the work under DITRH's guidance. DITRH must be the amazing architect. That's all you need. You just need a good architect. The workers themselves, they don't really need any skill. As long as you have a good architect, that's all you need. Anyway, unskilled parishioners did most of the work under DITRH's guidance. Hired help from among the poor also contributed. Oh, great. I'm sure they did. When church funds were allowed. When church funds were allowed. Oh, when church funds allowed, sorry. On July 21st, 1901, a high mass presided over the Archbishop Francis Xavier Ketzer marked the formal completion and dedication of the basilica. Just 4 years to complete because of the hard work of the poor and the unskilled parishioners. Let's take a look at what these unskilled parishioners did and the homeless in just 4 years in the late 1800s. Totally believable. Totally believable. Righto. 4 years. Easy peasy. I mean, seriously. I could do this in a day. Okay, it might take me a week, but I mean, they were obviously sleeping on the job. Slough work. I mean, seriously. This is so unimpressive. And I'm being sarcastic. Where do they get the materials? How do they transport the materials? How do they erect all of this? How do they carve all of this? How? No how. Amazing. I mean, yes, these were very holy and pious people. However, yeah. Oops, shouldn't show people, sorry. Anyways. Alright, you're probably getting bored and I'm sorry, but I did the research, so we're gonna go over it. So, a few more structures, incredible structures with incredible, truly incredible timelines. The Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament in Sacramento, California. According to Wikipedia, construction began in 1887. But then also from Wikipedia, it said it was founded 1886. But construction began in 1887. So that's weird. And then according to the above website, the website that I showed you at the beginning, where I got this list of the most incredible cathedrals and basilicas in the United States, ranker.com. At any rate, according to that article, it was completed in 1889. So if Wikipedia is correct, it only said construction began in 1887. It was founded in 1886. It didn't say when it was finished, but according to that website, it said construction ended in 1889. So give or take 2 to 3 years to construct. Okay. Late 1800s. Let's take a look. 2 to 3 years. Cathedral of Blessed Sacrament, Sacramento, California. Look at this beauty. Two to 3 years. The domes, the archways, the stained glass, the detailed artwork, the painting, the railing, the domes. No, it doesn't. Just doesn't ring true. Wow. That's fantastic. Wow. All right. Sorry.
와, 예뻐. 진짜 봄이지. 영어쌤들이 다 명문대 출신이라고? 전문적인.
Okay. Sorry. Apologies. Okay, from here down, this list came from TripAdvisor. Again, I just looked up most beautiful churches and cathedrals in America. And they had the Bryn Athyn Cathedral outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. According to Wikipedia, the groundbreaking took place in 1913 and it was completed in 1928, so 15 years. Early 1900s, so they might have had some very basic power tools, ropes and pulleys and wagons, and shovels and pickaxes and chisels. There you go. They're very enterprising back then. enterprising. And all you need is a good architect. You don't need skilled labor. Nope. No mention of who built them. Well, we always know the architect. And we know the exact start date and finish date. Who the laborers were who actually built them, it's not important. As long as you know the architect's name. And just this alone. That's different. All right. And what's next? And then I just highlighted this one in Sicily, which also just took 15 years to complete, according to their website, constructed between 1174, and they know, to 1189. Sicily's Cathedral of Montreal. Oh, okay, I have two more, I'm sorry. Well, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Sicily's Cathedral of Montreal. And it's just, how long? 15 years? 15 years. Started in 1174. Zero chance. Oh, sorry. Those are, yeah. Castles, which are also impossible. I mean, look at that. Look at that. No. I mean, just all of this. Detail. Amazing. Goodness. Truly astounding. Built in the 11 and 1200s. No. I mean, perhaps. But how? That's the question. When? 1100s? Okay. But how? And who? Did they have technology that we have lost, that we don't have today? Well, they definitely had something spiritual that we don't have in this world. And Burgos Cathedral in Burgos, Spain, constructed between 1221 and 1260, so almost 40 years, so perhaps this is a little more believable. 40 years, but in the 1200s, mind you. The 1200s. I don't know. I wish I had close up all these spires. Just imagine constructing something like this in the 1200s. Before cranes and forklifts and power tools and excavators to source the materials. I'm sorry, I don't believe that they used slave labor and unskilled laborers and prisoners. Just this kind of beauty and intricacy and ornateness and perfection and detail does not come from people wielding neither a sword nor a shovel. No, the people who built these structures were truly people of divine nature, and perhaps during Jesus' 1,000-year reign on earth, before the devil was loosed and who is now perverting everything, turning everything on its head, teaching children lies like evolution, spinning spaceball, and all the other ridiculousness, and injecting them with poison, calling it a vaccine. Anyway, this ends my presentation. Well, I wanted to show, some pictures of Versailles, the Palace of Versailles, which I believe was built, Okay, Palace of Versailles, all history. Construction started 1631. My computer is slowing down. Okay, so construction started in 1631. I had looked up. I think I closed that down. Okay, well. It doesn't matter. Alright, well, I don't have it ready, so I will end my presentation there. But, yeah. I mean, just look at the narratives that we are given for all of these amazing, incredible structures. Where, how, who, when. These are questions we have to ask. Alright. Thank you for watching. I love you all. And always ask questions with an open mind and an open heart.